so nearby Brad and Lucas. I'm thirsty and my glass is empty. Do we have any booze left in the office?
The only thing that we've got left is like the VK I bought in despair last night.
My mum's gonna be proud. She fucking loves VK. So I'll tell you this, like, I'm actually not VK wicked, because during lockdown, my mum, every time I text, it's like, what are you up to, mum? You know, I was having a glass of wicked, sat on the lawn, talking to my neighbours. So I bought her a sign. Like, I saw it on Amazon. I thought, this is going to be so cringy, there's no way she's going to like it. And it just said, lockdown was built on blue wicked and hope. And she's like got it hung up in her fucking kitchen. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. So, John Wick is a film in which Keanu Reeves plays a big dick gangster so feared by the criminal underworld that the mere mention of his name makes hardened criminals shit their pants in fear. Despite sounding like approximately the coolest shit ever, the film very nearly, almost, didn't get made, and in fact was seen to be a film that wasn't going to do very well, right up until Keanu Reeves forgot what it was called.
Was it just called something really like stupid and generic, like The Hitman's Hitman or some shit?
John Wick
Headshots.
John Wick had an almost obnoxiously generic name when it existed as a script, and I will give you £5 right now if you can guess what it is. Oh, hey Nisha! Nisha's here. Oh, hi Nisha! Yeah. But Nisha, there is a competition right now. I'm going to give £5 to whoever can guess the name of the original John Wick film. And I'll give you a clue. It's one word, it starts with S, and it's a word usually used to describe someone who is annoyed or been wronged in some way. I'll legit, I've got £5, I'll give it to whoever can guess.
Scorned.
Yes! Scorn!
Yes.
Oh, I owe Nisha a
£5,
Give me a I owe Nisha a fiver. I'll let you know my cash things. I've got £5 British pounds right here. There you are, Nisha. Done.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to the bit where he asks for it back after recording.
The second the camera goes off.
Give me that back. Just add it to her invoice this month. Right, send Nisha an invoice for a £5. But yes, the original name for John Wick was Scorn. And can you imagine the film doing that well with that title?
Scorn. Parabellum.
Well, that's the thing. Scorn. It reads like one of those films that, like, you know, John Travolta's in. Do you know when, like, Taken came out? And Taken is a pretty generic title, but it was the first of films starring, like, you know, slightly older, established actor who shoots people in the face.
It sounds like one of those films where you would go to, like, your parents' house and it'll be on the DVD shelf amongst these other action films, and you wouldn't know what it was, and you've never seen it. But you don't want to see it because it's called Scorn.
It's like I say, it's one of those films that Liam Neeson starred in after the release of Taken. Have you seen how many films that Liam Neeson's been in that are just Liam Neeson shooting people?
What's the one on the plane? I like that.
Oh.
The fact you can't remember it sums up why, like, films like I don't know. I think there's the one in, like, the John Travolta I Am Vengeance, which sounds like every other film of that genre ever made.
I always enjoyed the name The Taking of Pelham 123.
Yeah, that's a good title. You know, it's memorable. It's a bit long-winded, but it's memorable. You know, in that vein, any memorable film titles that you guys heard, and like, that's a fucking good name for a film. So I think John Wick is one of those, like, just John Wick. That's a manly-ass name.
I do like snakes on a plane.
Fact about that, someone's going to be screaming about in the comments, is that the name of the film was Snakes on a Plane when it was a script, and then the studio tried to change it.
Right.
So, like, it sounds too stupid, and Samuel L. Jackson himself called up his agent and said, if they change the name of the film, I'm not going to be in it. The name is the only reason I'm going to be in this film.
I think it's like the only reason half the people saw
Exactly,
the
yeah. And that's the thing, a good title gets people to click it. What I'm hoping is, like, you know, for this video, John Wick is called John Wick because the John Wick is such a dumb title, you can't help but to click to see what the hell is going on.
Can we change it to like Scorn?
Scorn. It's called Scorn because of Scorn.
That's the thing, it's an awful title.
While we're on awful titles or catchy titles, what do you think is the best title that you've ever written for a Fact Fiend article?
There's too many. I've wrote too many in my career. So, you know, I think the statistic I throw around is, like, the last time I checked 3 years ago, I've written well over 3,500 articles.
Let's get in the comments. Viewers, what's your favourite?
What's the favourite name of a Fact Fiend article or video?
And a wiki one.
And a wiki, yeah, some of the wiki ones. You come up with those, not me.
come up with those ones, yeah.
We'll bring it back to John Wick. When the film was simply titled Scorn and existed as a script, the script calls for an actor who was in their 70s.
To play John Scorn?
No, to play John Wick. He was called John Wick in the script, but the title was Scorn.
So they just want Sam Jackson?
Well, they just wanted a 70-year-old actor. And the idea is that the reason that John Wick is like mythical and feared, and that was like, you know, an allusion to that, like that famous quote about fear the old man in an occupation where men die young. And the idea was that, you know, a 70-year-old man, or maybe even older, to play John Wick, and that people will be scared of them. Like, how do you get to 70 years old being a fucking assassin? That's why he's so feared. And then they decided against that when they realised a 70 to 80-year-old actor would not be able to do the multitude of stunts they wanted to do.
Could have got Stallone.
Well, yeah, he still does a lot of his own stunts, yeah.
I mean, it's great watching, like, especially like Taken 3. I'm watching all the cuts that they have around, like,
where
Liam Neeson stumble fucking around.
And that's it. Liam Neeson could do, like, you know, he can shoot someone with a gun. But that, I think once you get to that point, you're dangerously close, like Death Wish territory. And if you've seen the Death Wish movies, it's starring like Charles Bronson, and you get to like the 3rd or 4th movie in that franchise, and it's just every single shot is just him stood like mid-frame with a gun shooting someone, and that's it. That's all he ever does. And there's no action, there's no stunt work or anything like that. It's just guy with gun stood there shooting people, and they didn't want to make that kind of movie.
Well, we're talking about Keanu Reeves here, like the new Matrix movie. They just didn't give him any actual action scenes. He just walks around and waves his arms.
Oh, really?
Because he's not as young as he used to be. They can't have him flipping everywhere.
That's it. He's still got it in him. So, you know, the John Wick movies, he does a lot of physical action. The problem with the Matrix sequel is that they didn't bring in Wu Ping. So Yuan Wu Ping is the guy who did all of the action for the first like 3 Matrix movies. And people don't know who Wu Ping is. He's the guy who did like, you know, the Matrix fight scenes. He's also the guy who did the fight with the Crazy 88s.
Oh,
he's that guy. Like, if you want to do a fucking martial arts fight scene, you get fucking Wu Ping.
That's the thing, isn't it? You go, you know, especially the first Matrix movies, like those behind the scenes videos that we talked about.
All training,
like they train their ass off and learn those fight choreography and shit.
Yeah, and Wu Ping said, like, I'm not going to make this movie until you, like, confirm to me I get these actors for 6 fucking months. They need to train their fucking asses off.
Like, reportedly Keanu Reeves did, and he was there constantly on his own time, like, volunteering, always there, like, first and last person on set and stuff, like.
With a broken back. He broke his back, like, 2 months into filming, and there's all these, like, behind the scenes with him in a fucking neck brace. And that's why Keanu Reeves never throws a kick in those movies. There was one, like, Wu Ping had to design a fighting style for him around the fact he couldn't throw kicks. And that's why Neo's fighting style is, like, almost entirely, like, parry-based punching. That's why, you know, that thing, like, because he couldn't throw many kicks. Like, if he lifts his leg up, he's going to break his back again.
Oh my God.
Fuck it, like, just, you know, make him a punching-based fighting style.
I like to think if that didn't happen, that scene at the end with Smith trying to get shot and he's blocking it with his arms would have just been his leg instead.
Well, they could have, like, you know, you have action scenes like that. You have one of my favourite films, like Who Am I? Where the fight scene where Jackie Chan fights, like, the 8-foot-tall taekwondo guy. And it's just Jackie Chan as this guy doing kicks. And his, like, legs, like, all over the fucking joint. And you could do that. That could be a cool fight scene. But well, yeah, bring it back to John Wick. Like, they wanted, like, we need to get an actor who's not 70. If we have an actor who's 70, he's not going to do the stunts that we want. So instead, let's cast an actor who's been around for a long time. So they're not necessarily literally older. They've just established enough in Hollywood where they feel like, you know, an elder statesman of the industry.
Yeah, 'cause at the time he would have been around, what, 30 years?
Yeah, since he, like, you know, he got his acting. So he's like, you know, he's 50s at the time, but he's still young enough in Hollywood terms to do those stunts. So I think, like, you know, watch the MCU, like, how old is, like, what, Ant-Man? Paul Rudd's 50 years old.
He's 23, you can't tell me.
He hasn't aged a day.
He looks younger than me.
And that's the thing, like, 50-year-old in Hollywood is not like, so you can go, like, the John Wick movies themselves. Halle Berry is, like, in her 50s when she was in John Wick 3. There was that great picture of her behind the scenes with abs at 50 years old. So, today's my 50th birthday, I've got abs.
That's peak goals right there.
But you fast forward 20 years, and, like, you know, the difference between a 50-year-old and a 70-year-old, even Hollywood. Like, even all, like, the exercise regimens and the health eating that they do cannot make up for 20 years of age. Do you want to hazard a guess at why the film was called John Wick, and why it's called, from the title of John Wick is called John Wick because of John Wick? And a guess.
I know the answer, so
I
either
also
of you
do. You
two.
know the
I
answer,
also know
okay.
the
I
answer.
don't know the answer.
Have a guess.
So Lucas?
Oh.
So he just kept forgetting the name Scorn and just kept calling it John Wick because that's his character's name.
Yep. Keanu Reeves, obviously, like, you know, even just during production, like when the movie hadn't been announced yet, like, he'd get asked, "Oh, what are you up to now?" And he'd just say, "I'm working on a movie called John Wick." And every time he got asked, that was his stock answer in, like, every interview he gave for, like, months during production before the film had even been announced or a trailer had been cut. And behind the scenes, they were really pissed off about it, of like, it's called Scorn. And Keanu, oh, sorry, I forgot. It's called, and then they had a meeting where they thought, well, Keanu Reeves has given us millions of dollars worth of advertising for free. it would actually be more expensive to release an advertising campaign trying to correct like the wrong name than it would be to just change the name of the film. So they just changed the name of the film.
Like, I wonder if that was some really meta thinking on Keanu's part of like, I don't like the name. I'm just gonna like pretend to forget until it just sticks.
Well, it could have been, but I think Keanu Reeves himself said that he genuinely just forgot.
Right.
But, you know,
he's sticking to his story quite well.
He's Keanu, he's got a lot on his plate, he's doing a lot of stuff. So he just gets out and working on a film, I think it's called John Wick. And they just got to the point like, it's gonna, like, we're gonna have to spend more money to tell people that the film we've been talking about is this one. Let's just call it John Wick.
I hope they do a sequel to something called John Wick Scorned.
They could do. I don't know what the fourth one's called. Like we had John Wick 2, then it was John Wick 3 Parabellum.
Hello. Yeah, it's currently just listed as John Wick Chapter 4. But like the second one only had Chapter 2, the third one's had the extra
The
line.
Parabellum, yeah. And I don't like when films do that.
Well, I mean, pick one. Either be chapters or have weird like suffixes.
Or if you're gonna like, you know, make it that messed up, do what Fast and Furious did and just fuck it.
I love that naming convention because I can never remember.
Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and Furious 3,
Tokyo Drift.
Then just Tokyo Drift, Adventures in the Fast and Furyverse.
Fast and Furious 6.
Then Furious 7.
Yeah, the Fate of the Furious.
Fate of the Furious. It's so good.
I can't remember it.
I will say as well, like, I'll never forget, I think maybe like a Kind of Funny podcast I was listening to where they're saying like, Fast 10 should be Fast 10 your seatbelts.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
And I was like, oh.
Fast 10 your seat. That would be a strong one.
That would be incredible.
The other one I've seen, we got like, you know, naming films, but it's like the Saw franchise, where it's one of those things where it's not a rule with Hollywood, but it's a rule with people who follow Hollywood. If you stop putting numbers after the name, you're officially embarrassed about how many you made.
Yeah.
So you have like Saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then it's like Saw
3D.
Yeah.
No, it was Saw 3D, then Jigsaw.
Yeah.
No, Saw 3D, the final chapter.
Yeah, and then another one, Jigsaw, and then Spiral.
From the Book of Saw.
Yeah, because they named it the final chapter. They can't call it Saw again.
Wasn't Spiral initially just called Spiral though? And they were trying to dissociate themselves from the name.
And then they realised that the Saw name is too strong, so they put it back.
But like,
I enjoyed Spiral.
I haven't seen it, but like, I think the marketing idea behind it is that people will think they need to see the movies prior.
And that's the thing about, you're officially embarrassed about how many you've made and how many of them are poor quality.
Mm-hmm.
But Spiral did exactly what you're supposed to do when you want to do that stuff, which is new story in the same universe. Like that, I don't understand why they keep doing shit sequels. When if you've got a cool universe, do a new story in the same universe.
That's what they do.
Just don't do what Fantastic Beasts did.
They just say, like this person might be inspired by. These are similar to the Jigsaw. He's dead.
They say similar to these John Kramer killings that happened 10 years ago.
But he's dead, so it can't be him.
Yeah.
Even though he's been dead 3 times. Like he's technically, like they think he's dead in the first movie.
I think they're going to do. I think there's a talks of because I actually know a fair bit about this because one of my side channel videos is about what I think they should do with the Saw franchise. It's my Brad's Workshop one. So yeah, plug for side channel.
Yeah. What's that? A side channel?
Yeah, we do one of those.
I haven't.
We've not advertised. We've done like 5 recordings today and not mentioned that. All the merch stuff. Fuck.
Oh no.
Side channel and merch.
Yeah, so we have a second channel where we all make all the cool content for. But yeah, one of the videos that I started making it, but it was a bit long, so I changed it out for a different one. But Nisha's seen the build up to that. I've showed you the. Yeah. But I had to look into Saw to see what was happening with the franchise. And obviously there's talks to make another Jigsaw one because you're never going to let it... Until... What's the actor called who plays John Kramer?
Tobin Bell.
Yeah, until Tobin Bell dies, they're just going to keep making Jigsaw.
His voice is fantastic. He's an amazing voice actor.
And then I think they're thinking about doing a TV series that's a spin-off of Spiral.
I think they could do a TV series where every week, like Hannibal, every week is a new grisly murder, and just like, you know, instead of monster of the week, it's murder of the week, and just like every episode has like one horrific way of solving murder.
Has there been like an animated version of Saw?
Oh,
Don't think so.
Been a video game.
Why not? Like,
there's 2 video games.
Yeah, and a theme park ride.
That video games.
But I won't go too much into it because it'll be a video on the side channel eventually.
At some point.
My idea revolved around the plans for Jigsaw's traps had been put online, so people around the world were making them to get revenge on their random people who annoyed them. So there's this like bureau that's in charge of trying to track this stuff down.
Actually, you can make that. Yeah, it's like the actual Saw franchise went completely off the rails because I still don't think, 'cause it's been a while since I watched them all, like the idea of him cutting a piece of the jigsaw puzzle piece out of people's flesh, like they never explain that. It's one of those things where you had to assume, oh, it's the piece of you that's missing.
Yeah, he says you're missing your survival instinct, so they cut a piece.
But they
literally did it so they could call him Jigsaw.
But they dropped that after a while because I think more of the movies than not, Jigsaw is dead, and the Jigsaw killer is one of his proteges. And they completely ignore his message. Like 2 of them ignore his message because they just kill people.
Say that, but he's in all of them. They keep doing flashbacks. He dies in the 3rd one. Then he's in all of the others.
There's 5 more movies where he's alive.
Do you reckon he keeps it all and it's like just rotten, decayed flesh from the first movie, like puzzled in with like the new nice breath?
He's an old man who was making a jigsaw and there was one piece missing, and he got really pissed off and went to find it on people's skin.
That's what I think makes that series so great to look at. Of like, Jigsaw is literally dead for more of those movies than he's alive, and he's a main character in all of them.
He's also a massive hypocrite. Because all of the traps he makes are wildly unfair, and sometimes he punishes people like there's the one I always bring up is the one where you have to cut off a piece of your flesh, and there's 2 people, and whoever cuts off the most is the one that survives.
So that's not a Jigsaw trap. That's one of the people that want to just murder people.
But no, I think it is one of the.
Is it? That's it. It's really unclear. It's like one person's guaranteed to die.
Well, there's a fat guy on one side and then a skinny girl on the other. So the fat guy's just cutting off bits of fat, and so the girl cuts her arm off to survive. And it's like it's imbalanced from the start. Because
aren't the ones that like people can't survive, even though the entire point was like you can get out of them all.
They're the disciples that aren't doing it properly.
Right.
Yeah.
But even the ones where it's like you could technically escape, it's like he gives you like 30 seconds. It's like at least give me 5 minutes to wake up.
You could escape without your head.
Well, Amanda's one is that she just has to get a key out of someone else.
Yeah, she has to kill somebody else.
Yeah. Whereas
what's that guy's test?
Yeah.
What about that one where then people like sat on that carousel thing and they all get shot? It's like, do they deserve to be shot?
Yeah, there's like a carousel with like a roundabout with 6 people on, and the guy who's doing the
save 2 of them.
Yeah. So what those 6 people? Did they get their own test?
They don't have a chance to try.
Is their test to persuade him?
Yeah, it's like they don't have a chance to
but
try.
Again, I think that's how they usually go. So I think we did a video about this of. Like the guy who directed the movies, like had this really stupid fucking explanation for it of like, I forget the quote he had of like, oh, Jigsaw always had a point, and people always had a chance to survive, and it's like, no, they didn't.
Yeah, John Wick's good, yeah.
What we need now is John Saw or Jigwick.
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 Jigwick Saw's one of those kids shows that has the weird little like WYSIWYG.
Combine them together, we get John Saw and Jigwick.
It sounds like Thickwig.
John Saw.
Up yours, thick wig.
When we mentioned the title Scorn, I couldn't stop thinking about Michael Scarn.
Who's Michael Scott?
Rat Level Midnight.
From The Office.
Can you imagine if like they rebooted John Wick and got Steve Carell?
Carell's one of those actors who only did comedy, and then they would put him in a serious role, and he was really good.
What's it as well? They put him in a comedy once when they thought it was a horror. Joe 40-Year-Old Virgin. That film, they had to recut the entire thing. Because the initial trailer that they showed to movie studios made him like a serial killer. Because they did it without music.
Like, what's the one with Robin Williams, like the photo one, where he is actually...
One Out, yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Well, yeah, imagine like, any scene from 40-Year-Old Virgin without music or like funny like sound cues. And it's just Steve Carell, as he is in that movie, like riding that bicycle. He looks like a fucking serial killer. And that's what they said. They thought that Steve Carell was a serial killer and it was a secret horror movie.
I do like as well the fact that apparently the actress that waxed him didn't actually know how to wax.
Yeah, and it was like Steve Carell's actual chest hair, and they had one take. Except you can do it to my actual chest.
But yeah, you've got one chance because you can't refilm him coming in with the hairy chest again.
I think as well they had to tell him you can't swear. Like Seth Rogen went, you can't swear. If you swear, we can't make a non-R-rated version.
Right, yeah.
And that's why, I don't know what line it is he says, but he says something really stupid like Kelly Clarkson, I think it is. Like, you see like, oh, Kelly Clarkson! 'Cause that's the only thing to say.
Yeah.
He was just like so overwhelmed with that agony. Join us as we next time we do a fact theme focus on creating the Jigwick Empire. That sounds like such a, I feel bad saying that. That sounds like, that feels like a word I shouldn't be allowed to say.
Yeah.
Jigwick hits the ear wrong. There's too many hard consonants in it.
Let's leave it there.
Yeah.